Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be another Paintisode. And yeah, again, for those who have not seen one of these Paintisodes, the whole idea is I am just going to ramble on and paint, and I don't expect you to watch. So, just go ahead. You can go and just pull out your paints and your models, do your painting. You don't need to make eye contact with me. It's okay. My feelings won't be hurt. And at the end of the day, you'll have something painted, I'll have something painted, and I'll be yapping about a bunch of stuff. So today, the thing that I am going to be painting is Skarsnik. So last time, I had hoped to do him too, but it turns out painting takes time and stuff. So I only got done the cave squig, which you guys should have seen in the last battle report I did. And I'm going to finish this guy. I really don't think it'll take too super long. Like usual, I'll try and keep this to an hour-ish, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, should be all right. I'm already noticing spots where there's extra flash and things, but that's going to be okay. So while we're playing with Skarsnik, might as well talk a little bit more about it. I know he's not the best thing to take. His abilities don't really help you that much, and given even the ability he does give you, like unless you get really lucky and you roll a lot of sixes so that your opponent has a lot of stuff starting in reserve, man, it is not worth it. But now that I have him, and especially once he's painted, it's gonna be just one of those things where when you go and you say I'm gonna be doing a theme, and sometimes it's hard to pull off. Like a lot of times, people won't say like, oh, look at that Night Goblin theme, even though I might have 1,000 goblins. It'll be more like, oh yeah, look at all those guys. And it's not really the same thing, right? The same idea is not really getting across. So the cool thing is that whenever I want to be saying like I'm going to be doing a Night Goblin army, all I need to do is pull out Skarsnik, and it's going to be very clear that okay, it's Night Goblin time. So just that idea and that feel will be nice to have and play with. I actually had a game today, but it will not be a battle report because it was a demo game. A buddy of mine is getting into fantasy. He's going to be doing a demon army. Not sure what god he wants to go for, or if he's going to be taking several different ones. But that should be interesting when he does play. He's one of the more competitive War Machine guys I play against now, so I'm sure he'll pick it up quick. It's going to be interesting. Actually, I do know which god he's going to go with. He actually already has a bunch of demonettes, so he's going to at least have those, and I don't know what else he'll have. I don't know if he's going to go for the mixed god thing or what, but either way, should be interesting. I haven't done a demo game with somebody for a very long time. And, or if I did, the last type of games that I've actually demoed for fantasy has been a thing where, okay, they're coming from 40K, or maybe they played 2 or 3 editions ago, so they have the general idea of fantasy. This one here was just straight off from scratch. He'd never played any Games Workshop. The whole idea of how does weapon skill and blitz skill go across, completely new. And just for needing to take that step back and realize that these things that I take for granted, I really have to take the time to explain. And you start realizing that this game is a lot more complicated than you kind of feel. Normally when you play your game, it's like, oh yeah, I do this, it's really obvious, there's not really much to it, it's pretty straightforward. But man, when you gotta start describing it to somebody else, just the idea of the different weapons and the armor modifiers and all the rest of it, it's just, wow, I forgot to cover this. And, simple ideas where, okay, well, you're a strength 4 and I'm toughness 3, so bam, I wound on a 3+, right? And that type of stuff, most of us would be like, bam, I know this in a second. But when you're coming from War Machine or something else, that whole idea is completely foreign, and you have to be kind of ready that the person's going to need to take some time to get used to that. But otherwise, Did go over fairly well. Man, I mean, at first I thought, too, I'd just be doing this on a 500-point scale. But at 500 points, you just can't get enough elements in there to get a full tutorial in. So I had to go with 1,000 points. And even then, I could only fit in so many different elements. And, I didn't want to stress any one of them. Trying to keep the game to being, under 2 hours when it's only 1,000 points. And so, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. I'm not sure how long it's going to take him to get his army together. So when I'm going to start having those battle reports, but they'll be coming up. I am going to be having a larger game coming up here on Saturday. I'm going to be running a tournament, and I'm going to be talking a lot about tournaments today because it was heavily on my mind. But he's not playing in the tournament. He's just going to come and play a game with me while I'm running the tournament. So that should be really cool. It's going to be 3,500 points, so good-sized game. Very certain he'll be Lizardman because that's his main army. But who knows? We never know when somebody has another army. Especially, I mean, he's been playing a long time, so he could very easily have some other army down in the basement or somewhere that I just have no idea that he has, type thing. And we'll have to see what happens. I mean, for my part, it would be nice to do dwarves, but to be honest, I want to wait till I have a few more elements, and especially going up to 3,500 because I need to get more troops for that to be really the way they want to go. I mean, I don't want to have to run a gun line against the guy, right? So probably going to be orcs and goblins, and by probably I mean getting pretty close to 100%. So expect that to come. I have to decide what type of list I want to run. I mean, of course, the first thing that came to mind is Double Troll Horde, and we're just going to go and smash and kill things. But probably want to be a little bit more diverse than that. Is Skarsnik going to be there? He could, especially with me painting him right now. It could be a possibility. And the nice thing about him is that he gets more powerful in larger games. Because like I said, the big thing that's unique about him is that whole thing where on a 6, your opponent, they start off the board. And so, the more units there are, the bigger effect that it has. So, yeah, I don't know. But then again, I do have other stuff I want to use. It could be fun to use Wyvern. Might be fun to try putting in some other stuff. So we'll see. I'll have to spend some time making a list. Let's go get this here. Now, talking about tournaments, the next couple of ones here, unfortunately, this weekend is also a fantasy tournament in Calgary, which I can't make it to. Very unfortunate. Because I've gone to almost all their tournaments, and I really like the way that they do it, but just can't make it out to this one. But I am running a tournament called Love Machine. And this is this War Machine one I was running, but very annoyingly, my tournaments aren't super huge. They're not like some of the guys that are up around 100 people or something. Mine was going to have about 24 people, and I was feeling really good about that. For War Machine, for this area, it's not like one of these massive lock and loads or one of the big ones they have there in the States. This would have been an okay tournament. And then even though I announced this, a few months ago, all of a sudden in the last, I don't know if it's even a month ago, if it was just 3 weeks or what, these other guys in a really nearby town, they say that they're going to have a tournament on exactly or the very next day. And so the problem is that if you're going to do one tournament, you can't really do the other one because it's a huge investment to say, oh, I'm going to go to this city for this tournament, and then we're going to go all the way to that city for that other tournament. So really, people are going to need to pick and choose, and the War Machine community is a lot more serious about their gaming. So whereas my event was a fun event, once you had a serious event being offered as well, that's the one that people are going to go to. So Very annoyingly, my numbers are very quickly dropping. I think I'll be lucky, and I'm hopeful to have 16 people now. So we'll see how that goes, but really, really annoying. Something else that's been bugging me too is that I have a fantasy tournament I run in March, which is now not that far away, right? We're talking like 3 weeks away. And, you know, I've been running this for over a decade. And I mean, years and years ago, I would just have my 10 people. It's just in the basement, just having fun. But in the last 4 or so years, I've been scaling it up and getting bigger and bigger. Last year, I think it was somewhere around 24, 26 people. And so this year, I was hoping for the same thing, maybe getting bigger, right? Capped it off at 30 and had my fingers crossed, let's see what happens. Well, people just aren't signing up, and I don't know why. It is basically just a straight-up competitive tournament. It's done just like Brawler Bash, where the points you get is the points that you destroy from the enemy. So very straightforward, go and play, go kill things. I do have the extra rule where you can take lords onto monsters from any book, but really because of all the cannons you see, this is really just for fun. So it should be a straight up tournament. People have lots of fun, and unfortunately I only have 12 people signed up, and it's just, what's going on? You know, did I go and insult a bunch of people and just don't remember it? I don't know. It's really very weird and really disappointing. You know, it's one of these things where I don't run these tournaments to make money. I don't run them as a fundraiser for somebody else. I'm doing this for the community, and if they're not going to go to it and I'm just going to lose money, why would I run it, you know? So I'm waiting with it too. And I mean, one of the things that really sucks too is that one of the mechanics I use that worked really well last year to get people to sign up is that it was based off draw tickets. So, of course, there's the usual prizes for first, second, and all that fun stuff. And then there's also these other prizes. And the way that you'd win them is that if the first person to sign in would get 30 tickets, next person 29, 28, 27, blah, blah, blah. And then when they came, basically all that stuff would be laid out, all the prizes, and you could then go and put them into any one of the draws you wanted for whatever prize you like. And so it really encouraged people to sign up, and it worked really well last year. This year, it's just clearly not working because people aren't signing up. So I don't know. You know, it's almost like the problem is too is that, you know, when you look at the expenses for getting the venue, getting the food, getting the trophy, the money I have to pay to the organization that runs the Alberta tournament circuit, you know, I have to kick in some stuff to them. All of a sudden, that means that for all these people, they're like, oh boy, I signed up, I get tickets. There's going to be like 2 different boxes, like 2 $50 boxes for them to go for. And that's just pathetic. So, you know, at this point, I'm wondering if I should even just cancel the thing. So that would really suck because, like I said, I've been running Battle of the Beasts for, I'm pretty sure it's over a decade now. I mean, like I said, most of that is just small stuff out of a basement. But still, this tournament has been going over a decade, and, you know, this could be the last year for it, just because I don't know why people aren't going. And one of the things it could be is that I don't have my own website for this. What I use is just Facebook. You know, I make a Facebook event. I invite all of we have a group for the Edmonton Warhammer, so I just invite everyone from there, and normally that all works out very well. But one of the things that Facebook is doing now that is kind of really hindering that is that even though there's hundreds of people in the group, it only invited like 50 of them, and I don't know why. It's just the way it is. I can't go in and invite the rest. It's just like it caps it off pretty much, right? So I don't know if that's it, but even then, I've been making lots of posts saying, hey, here's this tournament, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that's kind of funny, too, is, I always kind of hope that I know I'm, as far as, like, celebrities go, I'm the lowest of the low, right? I am just some YouTube guy with a few thousand subscribers scattered around the world. But I still like to hope that I'd have, like, a little bit of pull. And so you would think that it's like, if Once Bitten was to go and say, like, hey, I'm going to run this tournament, people would show up for it. If, first of all, because it's a tournament and tournaments are awesome. And second of all, just because, like, hey, it's a Once Bitten tournament. I'm going to go to that. It's an Anthony Sustainable Center tournament. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to that, right? But apparently Malorian doesn't have that type of local pull. So, unfortunate. I got to work on my dark arts, make them stronger. So, we'll see. I'm not going to pull the plug on it now, but definitely if we get to it being so it's like a week out and there's only a dozen people, I'll just send people their money back. I'll lose money on the venue and the trophies. I don't know. Maybe I should run it anyway and then just not run another one. I don't know. It's really, really depressing. And it's a lot of work too. And a lot of money. Making sure that I have all the mats, all the terrain, all that stuff. And then you want to make sure you're getting something for it, right? I know I'm not going to compete with some of the larger tournaments, right? Those guys, I'm always going to be in the kind of the shadow there. In the Justice League, I'm going to always be kind of the Aquaman. But still, when you've been doing this for as long as I have, you want to be having at least some sort of a turnout. So, and then meanwhile, it seems that whenever I do the serious War Machine tournaments, those are the ones people really like. So, maybe if that's the one that the community is wanting, I should just be doing that. Do more War Machine stuff for the tournaments. And it's not like I'd be totally turning my back on the community here, because there would still be more than, let's put it this way. There would still be 4 major tournaments in town for fantasy, plus some smaller ones as well. So, it's not like there'll just be nothing here. Like I said, I am the Aquaman in the area, so my stuff is all pretty small in comparison. So, I don't know. I'll give it some more thought. We'll see. Maybe I'm just grumpy right now. Need to have a Snickers. But yeah. Scar Sticks come along. Won't look too much different from last time I showed them to you if I was to put them up to the screen. Just getting some more of the wider areas. Yeah, and I've been playing with the dwarves too. Actually, in the demo game I was doing today, the dwarves were one of the armies being used there, and it is very different. I mean, the whole idea now where those hammers having 2 attacks each is huge. And so, I had just 10 hammers that got into combat with a unit of orcs, and they killed like 14 orcs because it's 3+ to hit. Re-rolling because of hatred. I'm wounding on a 2+, and luckily they had ward saves or whatever, but it's just, holy man, those guys are so deadly now. And then, of course, the +1 strength to charging, had some regular warriors or great weapons. And going from 5 to 6 is a big deal. They went into an orc chariot. All of a sudden, you're wounding on a 3+. You're giving no armor save whatsoever. It's a really big deal. And then as well, the whole parry on a 5+. Some other people were watching. They're like, well, what are you talking about, parry a 5+? Yeah, when you get charged now, shield wall. So it's... it really helps and kind of changes the dynamics there. Oh, crap, I missed some areas. So, like I said, definitely looking to do some, a lot of battle reports with dwarves, playing with them, but I want to get some of that newer stuff first. And like I was saying before, my birthday coming up next month, I don't want to go and get, like, one of the things I was going to do was I had 2 boxes of hammerers in my hands. And I was like, oh, well, you know, if somebody gets me for my birthday, I can just build them as the other unit. But this isn't a dual kit. I thought it was. But it's the Iron Drakes that make Iron Drakes and Longbeard. So, and those aren't out yet. They're out this weekend. There is the Gyrocopters out, and I could have gotten those today or yesterday, but I didn't do that because I already have 2. I'm probably going to get 2 more at least. Talking about gyrocopters, one of the things I've been finding interesting listening to some of the other groups is the whole idea of people's favorites between the gyrocopter and the gyro bomber. Now, for those who listen to my big 2-hour spiel on dwarves, I'm a big fan of the gyrocopter. You know, I'm not going to go through the... Okay, well, the big thing between them is that the gyrocopter flies up and it does a spray, right? You do your flame template, and it's strength 3, it's armor piercing, and then once per game, you can also go over and basically drop bombs, which is a little AoE 3 type thing, 3-inch blast, but you can't do that and the spray in the same turn. The bomber goes over and it has a gun, and it drops a 5-inch bomb, but it scatters, and it can misfire, and then there's a chance that you'll do another little bomb, a little 3-inch one. But, you know, if you even just look at it, damage potential between the big 5-inch and the 3-inch, when you know that you're going to be scattering 2 out of 3 times, I mean, unless it's a really big horde, the little template, the teardrop flamer template, is probably going to be hitting roughly about the same amount as that big 5-inch one. And sure, you have the little tiny shooting as well, but that's really minor for the amount of damage that's going to really do. The little shooting, and I mean, then you have a secondary bomb, but that's going to scatter too, and it's just, you know, and the biggest thing there then is that the gyrocopter comes from special, whereas a gyro bomber comes from rare. You can take 6 of the gyrocopters, and they're way cheaper. You know, it's crazy. You know, it's just tactically, mathematically, it's about the same damage potential. Bomber is a little bit higher, of course, but man, I mean, how can you fight the points? The fact that you'll have more bombers, right? So, I don't know. You know, currently, I don't even plan to take any bombers. You know, if I had the points for it, I would just take another gyrocopter and then put the points into something else, right? So, we'll see. As far as the vanguarding goes, I'm still kind of on the fence about that. You probably want to take at least some of them with the upgrade to Vanguard. It is really good. But then all of a sudden you're starting to lose out on that cheap part. But, you know, it's a big deal. This thing going up 12 inches on a Vanguard and then 20 inches, it's like it's starting the game beside you or behind you. You know, it's pretty dangerous. But yeah, I want to get my hands on those. Not really certain if I'm going to get my hands on the Iron Drakes right away. Like I said, I do really like them, but they're almost like the Maiden Guard, or sorry, Handmaidens for the High Elves, where if you're going to do them, you have to really do them. So, you know, you probably want to do at least 20. And, you know, that's just a big investment point-wise and money-wise. So, we'll see. I mean, hey, you know, maybe I'll get one of those boxes for my birthday and there won't even be a question because it just will be there. But man, they can definitely do a lot of damage. Almost sounds like there's fireworks outside. I don't know why there would be, but this guy's coming along. But yeah, I'm still trying to play with some builds. One of the things I came across while I was trying to work on a Dwarf Lord build is that I don't think I'm going to be running one. I already said that the Rune Lord doesn't seem to be worth it. The anvil isn't really worth it, so, you know, why would I take a rune lord when I could just take a rune priest, save some points? You know, I really think that they should have given some extra little bonus to the rune lord. You know, like maybe if you take a rune lord, you get +1 to the spell, so that bump it up to a +3 basically. Or maybe if you take a rune lord, you get double armor pierce. You know, the regular one goes regular. You know, something like that that sets him ahead of a rune priest. You know, it's one thing that he can have more gear, and because of that, you can pretty much make him like a combat rune priest. But to be honest, his stats are pretty low, and a great weapon is really all you really need. But really too bad. But either way, when I was starting to build my dwarf lords, I just kept on coming across how many points they are. And some of the very effective runes that we had from last year, the last book, just aren't there. You know, the rune of cleaving for +1 strength, you can't do that. You have to take 2, and then it's +1 strength and armor piercing. And it's just, and it really makes a very big difference to the way that you're actually going to be playing him. Because all of a sudden it's a big investment, you know, and if I want to go for those 2 runes and the rune of smiting, and I want to put them on shield bearers, and I want to put something else on them, you know, this guy's coming out to a lot of points. And you really have to ask yourself, would I rather take a lord, or would I rather take a whole nother horde of guys? Or, you know, a whole battery of war machines, you know? It really is tough. Now, of course, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is there's some things that your hordes and war machines just can't deal with. Like, say, for example, the Blender Lord. He's in a unit. You can't shoot him. If you take a horde against him, there's only so many guys that can attack him, and meanwhile, he is going to rip you to shreds and kill your elite dwarves like they're nothing. So, you know, there is, of course, always the benefits to having them. How well they can either shut down monsters or kill monsters. But such a big point investment. So, I've been looking more at running. And the thing is, at that point there, leadership doesn't matter because everything will be just leadership 9. Sorry about that. But, so, I mean, at that point, whoever the general is, it doesn't really matter, other than giving up the extra 100 points. So, I'm almost wondering if I should be running a BSB, because rerolls are good, and then 1 or 2 rune priests. The rune priests, of course, they're great because armor piercing's nice, but it's getting that scroll in, right? The rune is spell breaking. Shut down that magic for sure. The BSB would not have the rune that gives the bonus to the magic phase. That would be on a unit. Probably the hammerers. So the BSB then can be something combat-wise, which is always nice to have. And then the rune priest can be the general. And it can actually work out fairly well. So that's something I definitely want to play with. I am still not really happy with a lot of the BSB builds I come up with. So I got to try and find something there. Oh, this messed up big time. But yeah. So we'll see. We'll play with that. But, you know, the thing is that the whole idea between 1 or 2 rune priests is just that investment. You know, you do have a second scroll, so you're shutting down magic for another turn, but it's just another whole character, right? It's not like before where I could take 2 of those runes onto one guy. I have to have a whole second guy. And again, some of you are probably saying, well, you know, then you're giving armor piercing to another unit. True, but that's going to play a very small role. So, meanwhile, it's a big, huge investment. I may just be better off just taking whatever comes my way. We'll see. We'll see. So Gobla is pretty much done. Rawr. So I'll just have to do Skarsnik now. Although there is that chain going to his leg I still have to do. But yeah, also trying to figure out what I'm going to do for my core. Some people out there are saying they really like the long beards. You know, I wonder if I'm just going to keep my core mainly the same, right? Horde of dwarves with their great weapons, just the regular warriors. I don't need to take small units for redirect. I don't need to take small units for a little shooting, probably. So then the other unit would be most likely... Well, see, here's the nice thing. If you do go with long beards, they can have the Rune of Slowness as well. And Rune of Slowness is so good. So, but the problem is that, man, if you look at a 40-point unit, or sorry, a 40-man unit, you're paying 4 more points each to make them long beards. So all of a sudden, with nothing else, you know, you're already looking at 160 more points just to make them long beards from warriors, and then you have the banner on top of that. So looking at the difference between a horde of dwarf warriors and a horde of longbeards with the banner slowness, those longbeards are better, but they're like 200 more points. You know, so you're paying out of the nose to get that. You know, it's not like my orcs and goblins. It was like, Biggins, 2 points a model. Blah! You know, and longbeards are just 1 attack per model. I mean, I could really see it if longbeards were 2 attacks per model, just like the hammerers, but the way it is, I wouldn't do it. It's too many points. Right, I was on metal. Oh, some of the stuff's getting almost empty. Hope I have enough to finish the model. I should. So yeah, and the campaign's going okay. I was a little bit worried. That's where this Around the World in 12 Games. I was a little bit worried because I wasn't seeing any submissions for the current one. It's Empire, and I wasn't really seeing any Empire battle reports. You know, right now, Anthony from the Sustainable Center is doing his own campaign, where it's all Bretonians all the time. So, whereas I thought he'd get one in there right away. Nothing was really happening there. People weren't really posting much on for their battles, and so I did a reminder, and now people are starting to make their posts. So that's really good to see. And I'll be doing the same thing like I did last time. When I guess the end of the month, I'm just going to go through, and everyone who did a report, I'll be going through and showing everyone where they are, all the reports. And, I mean, hell, I mean, if nothing else, you're just going to get some FaceTime, and people will know where your videos are and check them out, hopefully, and maybe subscribe. So, you know, it just should help the whole community in a whole. What can you do if people don't want to do it, right? I was playing with another idea that I don't know if people would want to do to get, you know, themselves more shared out there on YouTube. And there's just this idea where it's almost kind of like what Mini Wargaming is trying to do on their own site, where you go there and you post up your battle reports, and it's almost like their site becomes a little mini YouTube type thing, where that's where you go to find your battle reports. But the idea here would be more just to help people get their name out. And the whole idea is that you would go and you could post, say, like 1 video a month on my channel. And what I would be expecting you to have in there is something that's really shouting out to your own channel, saying, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm going to be doing this battle report. Here's the battle report, blah, blah, blah. My battle report can be found here. I play these armies. And for sure, something like that will help people get more people to their own channels. Because, you know, I have the people that are subscribed to my channel. And so if they see your thing, then they'll watch that. They can go subscribe to yours. But then there's, sorry about all the coughing. I don't know what it is. I get the reef disease now. It's the hard water we have here. But the logistics is a little bit more difficult because it's not like I'm just going to give out my password for people to directly upload it to my channel. And getting their battle reports to me could be difficult. I think you can just do that through Dropbox. But, you know, not everybody has that or wants to deal with that. So, I don't know. Just playing around with some ideas. And then maybe I have to worry about stuff too, right? If I have somebody on my channel and they use a theme song for something, right? And then I get flagged for copyright, I don't know if it's worth all the hassle. But just playing around with some ideas here. How are we doing for time? We'll do fine. Hopefully you guys are painting along too and getting something done. I was looking around at all the stuff I need to get done, and it's a lot of stuff I need to paint. You know, I still want to finish this third troll horde. I have my boar boys who are in front of me, and I've been saying I'm going to get those guys done for a while now. There's a lot of war machine stuff I want to paint. I have all these night goblins I want to paint. Oh, man. The list goes on and on. It's one of the curses of playing multiple systems is that there's just, it's not only a financial thing. We're like, okay, I got to buy double the rule books and do all the rest of it. I got to paint double the models now, so. Ugh. Looking good, Grotznick. Or, yeah. Is that supposed to be metal too? We're going to say no. That's going to be leather. Night goblins are all about the leather. Cruising around the caves in their Harleys, picking fights, picking up the ladies. That's what the night goblins do. I could have taken it a different way with leather. I went this way. Alright, looking good. I always like doing the metal on the models because it always seems like that's one of the things that really makes the model start to pop and show. You know, some of the other little subtle things like, oh, I'll do this little brown strap here, and I'll do, you know, the little pouch here on his belt. And those colors just don't seem to really make the model look different and interesting. But, man, definitely when you put on the silver on a model, you start to really notice it. Oh, you got staples. Gotta remember that for some reason Gobble is like stapled together. I don't know if back in the fluff if he's supposed to be like the Frankenstein of man, you got these staples all over you, don't you? Or at least I hope they're all staples. Sometimes it's hard to tell when there's something that's covered in scales too. Alright, you got staples down here on your ass. Stapled your ass together. Although I gotta say, being a pet owner, I have been tempted to staple my dog's ass clothes. I tell you, at the beginning, it's like, yo, yeah, I want to get a big dog. Big dogs are awesome. You know, they're going to be good protectors and good buddies and all this stuff. Well, let me tell you, big dogs make big crap. And, yeah. You, like, almost throw out your back sometimes trying to pick this stuff up. So next time I get a dog, it's just going to be a tiny thing. My current one is a cross between a Newfoundland and a collie. I wanted to be just in Newfoundland, but we just could not find a purebred Newfoundland in the province. Just there were no breeders for them. So, all right. We found the mixed gear, and so I mean the one that I really wanted, like I said, was a Newfoundland. But man, the guy I got, it's crazy. I should sometimes maybe do a video of my dog because he is the biggest scaredy cat in the world, which is ridiculous because he's so huge. You know, is this supposed to be? Yeah, we'll do it like that. You know, he's a massive dog, so big, and yet he is terrified of people. Unfortunately and sadly, the reason for that is that the farmer that we got it off of clearly beat him. When we got the dog, he had scars on his head, so we're very certain that he was beaten and whatever. So that really sucks. But it's just always almost comical now, where I'll have a friend come over and the dog is just terrified and it's running away, trying to hide under tables, trying to hide in bedrooms. You know, it's just, what are you doing? You're like 100 and, I don't know, probably 130 pounds. And he's completely terrified. When really it should be exactly the opposite, right? When my friends who haven't been to my house before come in and see this monster dog, they're the ones that I'd expect to be kind of freaked out. But that's the way she goes. But anyway, with all that in mind, definitely the next one I want to be small. I'm thinking dachshund. Dachshunds are small. You can, carry them around no problem. When we go for drives to go camping and stuff, it's not a big deal. I mean, man, that big dog is like a whole long seat is just for the dog, right? Could be all the gear and all your tents and all your sleeping bags. No, it's just going to be the dog. That's it. Just the dog. What is on this front here? But we'll see. Let's try to get this chain mail that he has underneath here. And then while I'm doing this, he is covered with little trophies all over him. So it's really clear then the front that he has like a belt of beards, which is kind of an odd thing to do. But then I don't know really what all the rest of this stuff is. He has like a little potion on the side or something. And then as well on his chest, like, is that supposed to be like a face? Like you skin somebody's face and that's what the chain's attached to? I don't know. Well, I'm going to make it metal. I'm going to make it metal because if it's going to be holding back a chain, I don't think deceased tissue is the way to do that. So from a functional standpoint, if nothing else, we're going to make this metal. So that just makes sense. Yeah, looks all right. Anything else metal while we have it out? Looks like we're pretty good. Remember, there's little pus bubbles on his tongue there. I should make them a different color. We're talking about Goblet here. I've been getting some requests for doing some different topics for the Orc Tactical teams. One of them was the placement of characters in units. I think I covered that one recently, but if somebody there wants to hear that stuff, that's cool. And I mean, if anybody else has any other ideas, like, oh, I want to hear about this, just don't have any hesitation in just sending me a message through YouTube or whatever, and I'll have no problem. Sometimes I don't respond right away, especially now that it doesn't send me a notification when I get a new inbox message. Just in the last week here, I went and saw that I had a bunch of messages from Reef. I was like, oh no, I missed them. And it's not me trying to be a jerk and ignoring people. I just didn't know they were there. But yeah, please feel free to send me messages and say, hey, could you do a video on Giselles or whatever, right? And then I'll try and get those done. Of course, I have some dwarf ones I want to do first. Do my best to get them all in. Get him a gray beard. Yeah, I gotta say, one of the things I'm still not super keen on with that iron Drake kit is the whole idea of the iron beards. You know, the idea that you would make a helmet that would cover your beard, and then you would design it to look like another beard. I don't know. That just seems kind of silly. You know, I kind of wish they just made it so that you'd have the mask and there would be just like chainmail or something like that down. I don't know. Or just like 2 or 3 plates that link down to cover the beard. But the idea that you would make like this very corrugated beard plates to cover your own beard is just a little bit overly excessive. And I mean, one of the things I definitely want to see kept separate is the whole idea of how regular dwarves look and the chaos dwarves. And of course they have like the chaos dwarves, like their dreadlock beards. And so when you start making like these metal beards and part there, it almost looks the same. So it's just, oh, come on, let's keep that a little bit different. Let's do the gold. One of the other things, too, that somebody was commenting on was the idea that we did not get, like, the iron golem or some crazy thing that people thought that the dwarves might get. You know, a big kit that could be, say, like the steam tank, or it's a big, huge mechanical thing that the bear will be on, right? Just a really big kit seemed to not be there. And because they seem to be doing it for everybody else, right? Everybody gets their big kit. I guess we did get the gyrocopter and the gyro bomber, but that's not really the same scale, is it, right? As when you compare it to, say, the Charybdis, the Arachnarok, and, you know, all those types of things. So, I don't know. It would have been nice to get something like that. But to be fair, too, I almost feel sometimes like fantasy is losing its fantasy feeling, because when they keep on going to, oh, we got these different steam tanks, and we got these other things, like, oh, well, wait a second here, let's kind of hold it back. I'd like it to stay a little bit more fantasy instead of sci-fi, but hey, you know, it's the Warhammer world, and they'll do with it as they please. Somebody was also, you know, saying too that they wish that they would have got the bear calf and all that stuff. I don't know if I even would have really liked that idea, you know? At first I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool, bear calf and all these things. But it would just be then almost too over the top. I mean, it was the one thing when we got the chocobos for Empire. But we got the bear calf. That could be, you know, jumping the shark there. So maybe it's best that they didn't do that. We are coming along. We are doing good. Turns out there's another tournament in March, March Madness, where it'll be 40K one day and Fantasy the other. And I'm not actually sure what the date is, but I'm hopeful I can get that day off. I also have it confirmed that I am going to be getting a whole week off next week. So pretty much doing it for my birthday. You know, I did that for the wife. She got a week off for her birthday. I'll take a week off for my birthday. And man, I just if I don't get a fantasy game every single day that week, it'll be a failure. So it'll be really good for me. I'm sure you guys will appreciate it too. And it should just be a lot of fun. And hey, I mean, maybe this tournament might fall during that time. Not really sure. But what color should I make that little potion? Let's do this for the other beard and stuff. Yeah, now that this guy was done too, I was starting to think of the other special characters and if I should be trying to refocus on them. I know for a while I was planning to really focus on Gorbad. You know, I was going to make up a bunch more orc units because I do have like 100 of the shield guys, but if you're going big ends, you probably want to make them offensive. So I was going to paint up a unit that had double choppas, and I had another one with spears I made up, and all the rest of it. But I just never got around to painting that. So now that I was having fun with Skarsnik, I was thinking maybe I should go back to him and having some fun with him too. See, that'll be brown. The straps have to be brown. Because he is kind of fun, right? He does make it so that you're not screwed over by animosity. You get all those big ins, so you're going to have lots and lots of guys, and they're all going to be elites. But then again, you're always dealing with the issue that, yes, he's leadership 10, but he can die pretty easy because he's up on a boar. Man, I tell you, if they just made him so that he could take him on foot, that'd be huge. Yeah, and I still have to do the video too, talking about the special characters for the dwarves. For those who are wanting a little, spoiler, they're not that good. I was kind of disappointed actually. I was hoping to be seeing a lot more special stuff coming from the dwarves for the special characters. I gotta say, I'm not really that keen on any of them, but I'll be doing that as a separate video, so we'll cover that then. This gold going. Yeah, otherwise, I haven't done Gobspit in a while. He's the guy on the spider. Did him a few times. He never did very well. Highly doubt he'd be smart to take against Lizardman in that 3,500 point game I'll be doing. I'm here with my spiders, and either I'll charge your source and die, or you'll just shoot me with skinks and I'll run off the board. So, yeah. Man, this is not the right gold. I get screwed over with this all the time. Yeah, this is not right. Christ. Where they change the names of their paints, and I used to always get the shining gold, and I got the wrong one. I got this Gehenna's gold, and it's, it has like this red tint to it. Really not a fan, so I'm almost feeling like I should just stop painting and wait till I get this, but it's a Paintisode, and we gotta finish painting something. It's just the rules. And you know what, I can always come back later. That's an easy thing to change up at another time. Finish this guy, put on the wash, and then at some other point when I get the shining gold, the real good one, just go over it again, make it shine. If I had any skills, I would just do the non-metal metal. I'm sure some people out there would have no problem doing that. I do have a problem doing that. No way I could pull off something like that. Maybe I just gotta start believing in myself. Maybe that's the problem. No, there's a certain lack of skills. It has nothing to do with confidence. My lack of confidence in myself is well placed. Alright. You're almost done the gold things. Like I said, this isn't much of a gold. Grumble, grumble. Got some there. There we go. Looking good. Done this guy in no time. Let's see, he has a little bottle beside him. Bottle's going to be metal as well. Yeah, also been picking up more models for War Machine. Really enjoying that. And some of these models are so easy to put together now, too. They're coming out with some new kits. And, I mean, the one thing that I do really appreciate with the Games Workshop is that their models are very customizable, right? They're set up so that, you know, usually you can put them together in a lot of different ways. And it's great for customizing and making your army your own. But one of the things that Privateer Press is doing a lot of now is making it so the models are pretty much set just to fit together. You know, it's almost like the starter sets that you get for Games Workshop, where you can just open it out of the box, snap the stuff together, you're good to go. And that's really what a lot of their new kits are like now, too. And it makes it so easy. You know, just a little dabs of glue, slide together. And sure, you're always going to have, like, if this guy's like this, he's going to be like that. And you can't really change him. But it sure makes it so easy to get done that you don't really care. The whole fact that it was incredibly easy is the main point. You know, when I think sometimes of having to put together a bunch more orcs or something, right? I would love it if I could just snap them together. Maybe I'm lying. Orcs are so fun. You want to kind of customize those poses a little bit. Right, there's that. And the good news is I think after a few more colors here, I gotta do my white to get all of his horns. It's a little crazy hat. I don't know why this guy has a hat like this. I'm talking about Skarsnik, but he has like the most ridiculous hat. The hat is as big as he is. Horns coming out everywhere. I mean, I don't even know how this thing stays sturdy on his head and doesn't just flop over from the weight. Meaning there must be like a whole structure to it on the inside. So I don't know how heavy this thing must be. But hey, I guess that's how you show you're the boss. And all these tiny skulls too, all the way down. So he has spikes on the outside. And then running down the center are these tiny little skulls. And I can understand, it's like, this is the skull of the king of Averland that I defeated in battle, and I will show forever that I am the conqueror. You know, that's the type of skull that you keep with you. But these tiny little skulls, you know, what are they? This is the squirrel that stole my mushrooms. Ha ha ha, got him. And it's just, what are you really trying to show here? I'm not overly impressed. If anything, I'm more angry with you for you being a horrible person. But oh well. That's one of those things. It's best not to think of it logically. Man. I know some people talk about 40K stuff having skulls all over it, and even Fantasy 2. This guy's all about the spikes. There is spikes everywhere. Do not give this guy a hug. You will die. Come along, getting so close. One of the games I was playing this last weekend here is Galaxy Trucker. I don't know if you guys have even heard of that game, but if you have a chance, play it. It is so fun. you're making spaceships and flying around and trying to beat your other, your buddies there, trying to capture more loot than them, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a whole race. You basically have like a board where you build your ship, dump all the pieces, and it's a race to put them together. It's good stuff. Am I done the white? Nope, there's the skull. The one normal skull. Not the little baby skulls. Maybe that's the point. The big skull is the skull of the guy that killed all the squirrels. And then to honor the squirrels, he put them on his helmet. On his little crazy super decker hat. So that they can be remembered forever. And then for some reason, he'll be the leader of the night goblins. All hail the squirrel helm of power? I don't know if you just leave it like that. If you need like another additional thing you have to add at the end there. Man, these skulls are so tiny. I don't know if they're even squirrels. They could be tinier. So tiny. But yeah. The nice thing is that when I do get going with the painting the night goblins again, they will be fast. Although I am liking that double squeak hordes. The one in either flank, they're working out. They're doing okay. I have lately been going with the 30 squig herd, or squigs, and 10 handlers. Normally, I go with 40, so if I take any losses, they're still chugging along. I know they're going to be losing lots of guys, so sometimes I want to make sure I keep steadfast so I don't explode. And I'm really not sure now which one I should go to. If I went to I guess it really depends on the point size and what else you're trying to sneak in there. But the big thing is that those 30-man units with the 10 handlers have been effective. There were times it was like, oh, I'm starting to lose my guys and stuff like this. But, it's a lot of points you're saving as well. Because 10 squigs is already 80 points. And then if you have more squigs, you need to have more handlers. And I usually go 15, so an extra 5. So now you're looking at 95 points is the difference. So with all that, well, maybe I should just be leaving it at the 30. And then those 95 points in a Orc and Goblin army, those go a long way, right? I mean, that's an Orc chariot plus some. It's, their big war machines are just 80 and 85 points. You're getting close to getting 3 spear chuckas. So, it's a tough sell to try and go to that. I really wish you could join other things into those squig herds. Like all those big cave squigs. If I could be putting the cave squigs in with the squig horde, that'd be great. But unfortunately, you can't. You can only put them with the squig hoppers. This doesn't seem right. They're all squigs. Is it really that big of a deal? Clearly it must be. Alright, got his fingers done. Do some fingernails. Oh, looks like we're getting pretty close to the hour because my clock thing stopped showing anymore. Oh, why do I have yellow? I always hate that. Sometimes when you're opening up the container, it spills out a bit on the back. I'll get it on my fingers, and then when I grab the model, yeah, there it is. I got some green back here. Piece of garbage. But, you're secretly finger painting your model here. Luckily, this one wasn't too bad. We are getting very, very close. I think with me just painting him, I pretty much have to use him for that game, the 3500 one. And at least, if nothing else, at that size, it won't be like the other game I had where I took no magic. It's It's big enough that adding in another level 4, no problem. You know, and I probably could do 3,500 squig theme. You know, because, or not squig theme, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, really, if I just take my list I did last time with all the night goblins, put in 2 troll hordes, done. So that's pretty much jumping up to where I need to be. Let's see. Just doing cleanup now. Getting very close. Then again, this guy I'm playing for that game is kind of a nicer guy. So taking double troll horde against him might not be the nicest thing to do. Might want to ease up a little bit. Maybe we'll just take 1 troll horde. That seems fair, right? That's not too much. Or maybe I'll combine it. Instead of taking 2 troll hordes of 18, I'll just take 1. One big huge horde of like 36. I'll take them 12 across and just... Oh, no, I gotta go 6 by 6. That's how I'll take my unit. I don't know, how would I use for a movement tray for that? Probably fail every stupidity. That would be karma. Let's see. Oh. I know there's a spot where I messed up. You just a little bit there. We are really close here. Oh, yeah. Got that. So as we are drawing to a close here, as always, I would love it if you guys would post, you know, just what you guys were painting. If you guys are still liking these Paintisodes, always good to know. I'm pretty sure that this is something that you guys want now. I'm not going to be able to dedicate and say, like, I'm going to do one of these every single week. But I am going to try and get them in here with some regularity. Try my best. Maybe I'll try and get at least one every 2 weeks. Although I think so far I've been doing pretty good. I think we... and the green's gone forever. Come on. We got it. We saved the day. And I think it's good for me too, because I mean, a lot of times I'll get here from after work. I'll be going to the game store. I'll play my game. I'll do my battle report. And it's like, well, I could do painting, or I could just watch TV and eat stuff. And so it's probably a lot better if I just do a Paintisode. Better for the hobby. Better health-wise. Oh, man. All right, we just got to touch up a little bit on the hood here, and we are done. There we go. Yeah, I'm bouncing all over here, but getting back to dwarves. One of the things I am very disappointed in that I really wanted to be better because I didn't own any and I thought that, okay, that's great. When they get good in the new book, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to get tons of them. I'm going to love them. And what I'm talking about is the Iron Breakers. And I was sure that they would be having something that makes them really cool. They were spoiled that they were going to have something that they could take that get them to a 1+ save. So it's like, yeah, they're finally going to be the badasses they're supposed to be. Maybe not 1+ a 2+. But now, all of a sudden, I mean, the only way to get to a 2+ is if you use that anvil thing and you're somehow able to get it through and all the rest of that. So it really is just not as good as I'd hope. Sure, they get that 5+ parry all the time, but it's just not enough. You know, when you're competing with things like hammers, you just aren't doing any damage with these guys. And I mean, I guess one of the things you could do, right, is you could say that I'm going to take a block of these guys, and their real goal is just not to lose anyone. So I have the characters in there, and they're going to put out all the damage. And I have the Iron Breakers who just won't die, and then I should win combat. But the problem is that they'll still die, right? Because, I mean, with their shield, they'll have a 3+ save, 5+ ward, and, you know, they'll still die, and it's not like you're going to be having tons and tons of these guys because they're expensive, they're special, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got something on there. And it's just, it's a lot of points. I mean, +2 there with an idea, you needed to have a character in there, or characters, helping to put in the damage output. So, I'm just not seeing it. You know, they're a cool unit. You read about them in the fluff, and the Iron Breakers are these guys that are going through the tunnels, fighting off the Skaven, and basically holding off the masses, and then you actually play them. It's like, oh, you have one better armor save than a regular guy? Okay. And I mean, sure, yeah, they get their shield wall 5+ ward every turn, but I mean, I guess that's good when they're charging because, you know, everybody else gets the 5+ ward when they're being charged. They get it when they're charging as well, but how often are you going to charge with these guys? And as well, they get it every turn, not just the first one. But then again, most combats are decided in the first round of combat. So again, not that big of a deal. And I guess you can say it's one of these things where, oh, well, that's their whole plan. They'll get in there and they're going to grind. And they're going to be the grinders. And, you know, you just can't get the points from them. Well, why do that when instead I could just take a big, huge horde of hammerers and just win combat? You know? Why would I want to be on the defensive when I could just kill stuff? So, I don't know. Maybe that's the orc in me wanting to kill stuff rather than going more defensive. But, man. Alright, we are just doing the wash now. Getting this in the crevices. That's another big step. I was talking about before where whenever you add on the metal, you start really seeing the difference and it starts looking really nice. That's another one. Is when you put on the little wash here, man, it's like, wow, I'm not a totally shitty painter. Even though I am, but it masks it. And it makes me think that it's good. I once saw this painting tutorial where they were painting a Tomb King. And when you look at it, it's like, wow, this is a joke. Because the Tomb King literally looked like a clown. It had just these bright colors all over it. And it looked like the type of thing that some little kid would paint for his first project, right? Where he's just like, I want to use all these bright colors. And, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to look totally awesome with bright purple and bright yellow and bright red. But, you know, it's just doesn't work. Well, the thing is that after they did that, they put the wash on it, and then it looks amazing, right? It's just all of a sudden all those bright colors get dulled together, and they're all nice, and it's like, wow, liquid skill. You know, a lot of people, that's what they call the washes, and, you know, I can't deny it. It is pretty true that nowadays it's hard to tell who the good painters are because all you need to do is paint the numbers, throw on a wash, it can look fantastic. In fact, there's a local guy who, that's what he did with his lizardmen. He did an entire army with just washes. And I mean, when you look at it, you're like, wow, that's the best thing ever. It must have took you so long to do all that shading. And the whole funny truth is that no, it took almost no time at all. It's just wash, 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 done. Really? Okay. So there we have it. We have, let's see, we'll get some more on there. We have finished painting him. As always, I will have a picture after showing him. Let's quickly go like that. Yeah, guy. But thank you for joining for another Paintisode. Hopefully this gave you some time to paint some other stuff. And please feel free to comment on anything I talked about today. There was a wide range of it. with the dwarves and the orcs and goblins and tournaments and all that stuff, and some more supporting your community. So if you have any stuff on there, I'll do my best to reply to you. But either way, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later. Bye.